Stay frosty and head over to EasyMut.com for the cheapest MUT coins on the market. And when I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around 40 bucks. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Kia ora, brothers, what's up? It's the Director. Chargers fans, I'm sure you can tell by the title of this video that I've got a favorite head coach candidate for the Los Angeles Chargers, who are now in the hiring period of getting their brand new head coach into LA, and that guy is going to be Brian Daboll. Now, I'm sure a lot of Chargers fans are probably on the same page as I am. Like, Brian Daboll is the man, and I do think that he fits this Chargers team like a glove and would give us the best chance of success going into the 2021 season. But honestly, this is shaping up to be one of the most important decisions for the Chargers organization in very, very many years. Some would say decades. The Chargers now have themselves a stacked roster, mostly due to our franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert, but we also do have a lot of other superstars signed to multiple-year deals like Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler. With that being said, who is going to be our fearless leader going into 2021 with all of these weapons? Who is the best equipped candidate to take this Chargers and really unleash their best potential? And which guy is worth taking the risk on in order to get us to our next championship or playoff or championship run? To me, the guy is Brian Daboll. And honestly, guys, when you take a really long look at his resume, he's honestly the kind of guy that can turn a team into a Super Bowl contender over 1 year when handed the reins, when handed the keys to an organization, having, I wouldn't say full control, but honestly, he's going to be like the captain. Oh, captain, my captain, Brian Daboll. He's going to be the right guy, in my opinion, to steer this ship into the right direction. And honestly, the more I look into him, the more I'm falling in love with this potential head coach coming to the Chargers. And I kind of want to give you guys a sneak peek into what I've been looking into as to why he has emerged is my favorite head coach candidate going into next season. Give you guys some reasons to cheer for this hiring. If Brian Daboll, who has already interviewed with the Chargers, is hired by the team after Daboll's championship run with the Bills, Chargers fans need to be hollering, screaming, and cheering, because I do think there's a reason he's the consensus favorite for all Chargers fans. Well, before we really do get into this one, guys, as a reminder, we have a giveaway going on right now. I am giving away this signed Air Coryell jersey. Obviously, it says Air Coryell on the back, but it is signed by three of the best Chargers of all time: Kellen Winslow, Charlie Joyner, and Wes Chandler. For a chance to win this jersey, all you guys got to do is be a member of my crew. It doesn't matter which tier. This is me saying thank you to everybody who supported this channel in that way, man. You guys rock. I hope this goes to a good home, because this thing is hot. Now, if you're not a member of my crew, but you would like to, check out the join button underneath this video or in the top right-hand side of my channel. There's also a link in the description for those who can't find that. With it, you get things like custom emojis, members-only chat, and getting your name at the end credits of my videos. In the end, it really does support me. But if you guys are not a member of my chat and you're guys, dude, Director, I want to win something too. That jersey is fire. Got you guys covered. This one hasn't launched yet, but I do have another giveaway planned for the near future for this signed Keenan Allen jersey. Yes, it's in the same style as my alternate navy blue Chargers jersey. This one will be running after the Air Coryell jersey is given away on January 29th. If you want to be ready for it, just make sure you are subscribed to the channel and hit that bell notification. With all that said, guys, let's get into this video. Again, reminder, hit the sub button if you do enjoy this content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this video. Lights, camera, action. Why the Chargers must make Brian Daboll the next head coach of this team. Dudes, this is a pretty big one, guys. I couldn't tell you the potential that this team has under Brian Daboll going into 2021. Now, the Chargers have interviewed or are going to interview a few coaches. The ones that I have listed here: Joe Brady, Eric Bieniemy, Jason Garrett, Matt Eberflus, Arthur Smith, Brandon Staley, Urban Meyer, who they have interest in, Robert Robert Saleh, and then, of course, Brian Daboll. Now, out of all those names, which ones get you the most excited? I have a lot of guys in the chat that love Urban Meyer, a lot of guys that love Robert Saleh, and a lot of guys who love Eric Bieniemy. But honestly, I think for me and a lot of other Chargers fans, it is Daboll that really has our attention as the best guy to lead this team into 2021. So I have a couple notes here that I want to go over with you guys as to why. I went kind of digging into Daboll's past, looking at his game script, his game plans with the Buffalo Bills, and honestly, I love everything I have seen so far. The first thing, a reason why to think that he definitely could be coming to the Chargers, he's probably the top tier guy for Tom Telesco right now. The Chargers have mentioned that they do want an offensive-minded head coach, and this is likely due to the fact that they want to bank on the success of Justin Herbert. Of course, Justin Herbert kind of came out of nowhere and became the best rookie quarterback of all time. What better timing to go all out and try and get one of the best head coaching candidates in the league, especially one that would fit the archetype of Justin Herbert very well. And that's because we've already seen Brian Daboll find a lot of success with a very similar quarterback in Josh Allen, but we'll get to that here in a minute. And Tom Telesco, by the way, also has ties to Buffalo. I believe he was born and raised there. So good relationship with the Buffalo Bills organization. Of course, we got our last head coach in Anthony Lynn, but trust me, guys, Brian Daboll's resume is far, far greater than even what Anthony Lynn's was before his disappointing past couple of seasons with the Chargers. But on top of that, guys, I also do think it's important that a head coach does have a well-rounded mind when it comes to several positions, not just including offense for Brian Daboll, but defense as well. If we take a look at his Wikipedia page here, actually, we can kind of see the history of Brian Daboll here really swiftly, and as to why he's kind of got, some of the best experience when it comes to the candidates that we're seeing right now. He's really done a little bit of everything, and very much so has succeeded on the offensive side of the ball. Of course, he spent a lot of his years with the New England Patriots. I'm sure a lot of you guys knew that. If you did not, he definitely played a pretty big hand in a lot of their wide receivers back then. He was a defensive assistant back then as well, and I do believe he won 5 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots in his time there with Bill Belichick. So obviously the guy has been in a winning culture kind of locker room. He understands what it takes to get to the big game, and more importantly, how to win the big game. So this is a pretty big one right here. This is something you'll see a lot of people talk about when it comes to Brian Daboll's resume. Then, of course, he did go on to play or to coach with the Jets, the Browns, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, all of which had varying success, and then back to the New England Patriots as their tight ends coach between 13 and 16. Very, very nice. After that, talking about being in the presence of champions, he went in 2017 to coach in Alabama with Nick Saban as their offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Obviously, a very, very good program out there in Alabama too with Nick Saban. He's been around some really of the top minds in football, both in college and in the NFL. And then finally getting his break here with the Buffalo Bills as their offensive coordinator. And really, he came in the rookie season of Josh Allen and really took Josh Allen under his wing and nudged him in the direction of success. I do think that Brian Daboll does play a pretty big hand in the development of Josh Allen. As we knew, he had some issues, Josh Allen did, coming out of college into the NFL, and it really feels like Brian Daboll very much so smoothed a lot of those concerns away, ironed them out, and as we saw this last weekend, the Buffalo Bills versus the Indianapolis Colts, Josh Allen looks like an MVP kind of, status quarterback, and obviously maybe a top 5 in the league right now. So it's very, very evident that his resume is very, very impressive. And again, down here, 5 Super Bowl championships and then 1 CFP national champion in 2017 with Alabama. Very, very impressive stuff. So far, we've understood that Daboll's a winner. 5 Super Bowl championships. He's had an influence on several different positions on the field, including defense, wide receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends. And as far, if I was like a guy looking at a resume so far, I'd be like, yeah, here's a blank check with my name on it. Write any number we want on this piece of paper and I'll pay it. But on top of that, Brian Daboll is also considered a bit of a younger coach as well, only 45 years old. He's kind of, as far as coaches are concerned, that's kind of like the prime breakout, age for a guy like Brian Daboll, which means that he would not only have, the youth to kind of relate to his players, but also the longevity to build something long-term with the Chargers if he really does fire off with this team. And honestly, guys, this could be one of those origin stories of Brian Daboll, the guy that took us to the Super Bowl, to the playoffs several times. This is kind of where we understood his potential, and honestly, we got super lucky getting him at such a young age because he's going to lead us to success
for a very long time. Now, Brian Daboll as a person, as a coach, I've watched a little bit of like documentaries and stuff on him lately. I've read some articles. It seems like he's a very disciplined individual. He emphasizes on knowledge, making sure his players know what they're doing, and as well as an emphasis on respect. So he does have the respect of his players and his coaches. The locker room is behind him, and that is a pretty important factor when you're talking about NFL players. These are not kids, in college anymore. These aren't guys, aspiring to be in the NFL. These players are millionaires, and they do want to be respected at the same level as you are, even with the head coach. It's just kind of the way it works. And really, Daboll does bring a mix of both that's truly balanced and unique to head coaches in the league. So that's really, really nice to see. It does feel like his best years, obviously, were with Buffalo. He saw a lot of success, and obviously, like I mentioned before, he played a huge role in making Josh Allen a top 5 quarterback in the league. And not only that, just this season, the Buffalo Bills ended up being top 5 in running yards, top 3 in passing yards, second in points per game at 31.3, bottom 10 in sacks allowed. And these are just a few statistics to tell you guys the success that his offense had in Buffalo, which ultimately led them into the playoffs. And right now, they're fighting at a chance at the Super Bowl, which right now it does look like they have a really, really good shot at it. This man is just a genius offensively. This man understands how to utilize the strengths and weaknesses of his players. You take a look at Josh Allen coming into the NFL. A lot of people were worried about his accuracy, overthrowing a lot of things, bad decision making, maybe not great under pressure. It really does feel like Daboll was able to massage a lot of those things away from Josh Allen's game, and I do feel like that's why so many Chargers fans are excited about the prospect of Daboll coming to the Bolts, is because Josh Allen and Justin Herbert very much so had a lot of the same problems coming out of college, and it really does feel like if the potential was unleashed with Josh Allen, there's probably even greater potential in Justin Herbert, because obviously Justin Herbert had a much better rookie season coming into the NFL. So the possibilities here are limitless as to Justin Herbert's potential with Brian Daboll. Now, a couple more things that did have noted here. Why does he fit the Chargers so well? Well, we already kind of went over Justin Herbert, the development there. I mean, just imagine, guys, Justin Herbert's rookie season, incredible. And it could get 10 times better under the coaching of Brian Daboll. It would take a little bit of time, but at the same time, to think that we could get anything better than what we had in his rookie season is very exciting to think about. Now, the Chargers have struggled in second halves of games throughout the 2019 and 2020 seasons, and this has been a big problem with the Chargers and Chargers fans. We hate it that there's really few adjustments made at halftime. It feels like the Chargers can go grab the lead at the beginning of the game, and it feels like they start playing off. They start playing just to not lose. That's the biggest thing I say on all my streams. The second half Chargers, they play not to lose rather than to win. They don't want to go grab it. They want to protect it. And to me, in the NFL environment, that's no way to play. That is why the Chargers, I'm sure, statistically leaders in blowing, second half leads or first half leads or whatever it is, by multiple touchdowns, 17-point plus leads, 24-plus point leads, you name it. We've seen it as Chargers fans. This is where Brian Daboll comes in as like a fresh perspective. This man is not the kind of guy that's going to sit back and watch his lead get withered away. Brian Daboll's the kind of guy that steps on his opponent's throat. He puts his foot on the gas, going 100 miles an hour plus, even with a 20-point plus lead. 20-plus point lead. And this is something that I think the Chargers in particular are really going to need to utilize in 2021 because of the division that we're in. The Chargers, of course, kind of trapped in the AFC West with the reigning Super Bowl champions Kansas City Chiefs, and we've all kind of seen the damage that the Chiefs can do versus the Chargers when it comes to putting up a lot of points. At some points, it feels like the Chargers have a chance on defense to maybe slow them down. Joey Bosa's been doing pretty good things. Derwin James is really hard to scheme around offensively, but really when it comes down to it, the Chiefs are going to score. The Chiefs are going to come back from behind in the second half if they have to, and Patrick Mahomes is one of the most unpredictable guys when it comes to what they're going to do on offense to try and get ahead, and at some points too what they're going to do on offense to stack the score. They're the same kind of team. They're not going to sit on a lead very long. They're going to try and stack their score, and this is where Brian Daboll once again comes in as kind of like the method of let's fight fire with fire. I feel like a lot of the games that the Kansas City Chiefs have maybe lost or gotten even close to losing was because of the offensive orientation of stacking up a lot of points on the scoreboard. You're not going to stop Patrick Mahomes on defense. Very rarely you're going to find a way to even slow him down. But what you can do is attack that Kansas City defense, which isn't superhuman like Patrick Mahomes. And you got the quarterback to do it with Justin Herbert. It just feels like Anthony Lynn and his associated coaching staff really did not have the courage to do that. They felt safe with the lead, wanted to protect the lead in several instances this year. I do feel like against the Chiefs, they were exposed, especially in years past. I do feel like going forward, if we're going to get to the Super Bowl, if we're going to get to the playoffs, we got to go through the Chiefs, and the best way to beat them is by fighting fire with fire. And ultimately, that mentality has shown a lot of success for Brian Daboll with the Bills as well. You take a look at a lot of the Bills' wins. This guy's not going to, win by 1 or 2 touchdowns. He's going to want to win by 3 or 4 touchdowns a lot of the time. That's his mentality. It's like, oh yeah, we're leading at half by like 3, 21-0. Let's go ahead and stack it up to 42-0 just to make ourselves feel better. I love that. And you've got the perfect staff. You got the perfect players. You got the perfect roster really to make this happen. That's why he's such a good fit for the Chargers. So no more run, pass. That's not Brian Daboll. He's a brilliant offensive mind, very creative, very hard to scheme around. And honestly, the biggest thing I love about him is making adjustments. Okay, the adjustments that he makes at halftime. If his quarterback is getting pressured like crazy, he's going to find a way to get the ball out of his quarterback's hands quicker in order to minimize the danger coming in from the pass rush. And this is something that I watched some film on with Josh Allen's game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ Watt was getting in there like crazy, causing a lot of havoc. In the second half, Brian Daboll comes out here and says, you know what, that's probably the biggest problem for Josh Allen in the first half. Let's go ahead and get the ball out of his hands really quickly, and that caused the Pittsburgh Steelers to back off a little bit, and then Josh Allen started doing what he does, attacking deep and putting up a lot of points. And that's really just one example of why Brian Daboll's offensive mind is so brilliant. The way that he schemes around specific moments in a game, specific quarters, specific drives. He understands. He's like he's playing chess, not checkers out there, and it really does show. I wrote down a couple other things. Daboll is likely to fully utilize and unleash Justin Herbert. Yes, he does. He's very unpredictable on offense. Yes, he is. Excellent adjusting for pressure. Yes, he is. And he does step on his opponent's throat, which is what I'm most excited about. So, without trying to risk this video getting much too long, I do want to say that this is all the reasons why Brian Daboll, to me, is the top head coaching candidate, okay? I've talked a lot about Bill Belichick. I've talked a lot about Urban Meyer. And the biggest things I love about those guys is because they come from winning cultures. They create winning cultures, and that's something I want out of the Chargers. We got a very short window of like 4 years on Justin Herbert's rookie contract to really build a Super Bowl champion squad, and I do think under Brian Daboll, he'll give us the same shot, not the same shot, but a very similar shot as if we were to get Bill Belichick, who he's worked with a lot, even in Urban Meyer, Nick Saban. That's the kind of mentality I'm chasing after. And taking a look at his resume, taking a look at his background, taking a look at his genius, offensive mind, the pairing with the Chargers players, the Chargers team, it just all feels like it's meant to be. And that is why this man must be the next head coach of the Chargers. Probably one of the most important decisions that this organization is going to make in very, very many years. In the comment section below, I want you guys to tell me one thing that you love about Brian Daboll and maybe one thing that you're concerned about. If you're not concerned about anything, name 2 things you love about Brian Daboll. And then maybe also mention, if you're not on the Daboll train like a lot of other Chargers fans, let me know which other Chargers head coaching potential candidate that you are most excited about, and give me some good reasons for it too, man. Because in my mind, it's going to be very, very hard to dethrone the hype of Brian Daboll coming to the Chargers. He's just a full package, and I feel like with Justin Herbert, we have as good a chance as any other team to make a Super Bowl run. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time. Remember to hit up the links in the description. Maybe join the crew for a chance to win the Air Coryell jersey. Again, we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. This has been The Director, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.